So let's imagine for a second that you have no job, no real career prospects. You're probably in your early 20s. You're black-pilled on dating, black-pilled on women, black-pilled on politics, your own future, etc. And after all, this is the popular opinion. The black pill sells. Fear sells. Hopelessness sells. Because, like any product, it's important to convince your buyer that there's a glut that can only be filled with your product, with their product. I'm going to talk candidly, specifically to the fellas here. Specifically to young men in their early 20s. Because at this point, I've seen enough young men taking their own lives to believe that it's worthwhile to speak on this issue, even if it falls on deaf ears. Even if it's not flashy, even if it's not optimistic, if it reaches one person's ears who needed to hear it, then it's worth it to me. There is absolutely no shortage of black pill Zoomer slop that's been hand-curated to make you feel hopeless. And some of it even is well-intentioned. Some of these young men don't mean to perpetuate the very things that they hate. The very worldview that they know is altering their perception and ultimately causing them to lean even harder being into a true cell black-pilled chud. We could have a discussion all day about a perfect world and how it should be, how the dating market's cooked, how the economy's cooked, the gender war, men and women seemingly being at endless odds with each other, having knives to each other's necks. The most important aspect of conversations you might have with people you run into is preserving their ego. When you try to talk to an adult or someone who's older, the most they have is recommending you a podcast or a book. Because a lot of people haven't learned or earned wisdom the hard way. And the hard way requires getting off your ass. The hard way requires getting your ass kicked. The hard way requires life experience. Wisdom isn't found in the gym or in an audiobook. Wisdom is found in the brutal ass kickings that you get when you actually throw your balls against the wall and see if they stick. So the essential encouragement that I would like to give in this video is to completely and entirely reject the black pill. Because the world is not as bad as you think. I think one of the biggest ways that young men nerf themselves right now is talking about how much better and easier things must have been in the past. A past that they didn't live in. A past that they never tasted or touched. Unless you're a 90s kid and you're specifically talking about how you can harken back to when Walmart had lobsters and actual gaming controllers, and you could walk into a McDonald's and play GameCube, that's about the height of the golden era for the Zoomer experience. What I'm talking about is complaining about things like home buying, which millennials do. Which is, all these things are true, but owning a house right now would be a nightmare anyway. Owning things in America is completely cooked. Because if you own a business, if you own a car, if you own even an apartment, you're signing up to argue with women all day. I think this is why so many young men have chosen to completely remain pretty much untethered to anything. Because you understand that if you're signing your name on a dotted line, you're pretty much signing up to have 12 girlfriends that you didn't ask for, all hand distributed like drones to you by the government. Or corporations, or banks. But as you continue to age, you're going to notice more and more that the current way that shit is structured is a crushing machine meant to make you a wagey, essentially. Meant to make you a good slave. And there is a way out. And it doesn't involve being happy. It involves being silently unkillable. It involves a lot of those negative emotions that you're endowed with naturally that are supposed to be used to propel you. Men are not naturally happy creatures. So if you notice as you begin to come of age that your happiness starts to fade, you are supposed to feel that way. And I promise there are people making a lot more money than you that have the exact same problems. One of the most powerful skills that a man can actually obtain and demonstrate is the ability to be present and have fun where he's at. To actually cherish the moment, to actually take a risk. To actually get out of your room and stop finding reasons to not act and to not interact with people. Yes, there's a ton of rejection in the world. There's a ton of fridges out there guarding their prettier friends. There's a ton of sports ball enjoyers who are only concerned with their next beer, and the maximum wisdom that they have to offer you is an audiobook that they want you to let them rant about. But carving out the man that you were made to be isn't going to involve a political revolution. It's going to start today, and it's going to start with you. And it's not going to start with self-improvement or self-work. It's going to start by accepting who you are, your good qualities, your bad ones, your strengths, your weaknesses, and choosing yourself anyway. Lying to yourself if you have to, but doubling down on who you are. Because if you're a good person and you have to wrestle with the guilt of your existence, and you allow the world to come behind you and perpetuate that guilt even further, that's a death sentence. You have to reject that narrative. You have to fight to self-advocate for yourself. Even if you fucked up, even if you did something wrong, action in itself comes with consequences. But in the soft opulence that we currently live in, most of the evil in the world, the true evil, comes from passivity, not action. It comes from bystanders. It comes from maintaining the status quo, not from people who leap simply for the sake of motion. So if you're young and you're confused and you are wrestling with guilt about who you are, I would love to implore you that every aspect of you was made and handcrafted with purpose and intent, and that victory isn't found at the top. Victory is found when you're at the bottom and you still choose to say that you're winning, because you know you're not going to give up on yourself, that your destiny is in your hands, and that tomorrow's a new day. I have this thesis that guilt itself really only has a capacity to last for about 3 days. And guilt is very different than a lot of other negative emotions because it's not some behemoth to battle. It's like an infection. It's like a cold. It's like a swarm of mosquitoes or gnats, where it comes in waves. And the only thing there is to do is outlast it, is to not be broken by it. Even if you're on the floor of your shower asking yourself, why did I do that? Why am I like this? I hate myself. To understand that that is a symptom of narcissism. And no one is thinking about you more than you're thinking about yourself. They're going to move on. They're going to find something else to latch onto, some conversation, some topic. The end is not the end. You don't have to forgive yourself. You don't have to be happy. You don't have to like yourself. You just need to take the next step. A powerful way to do that is through journaling. I'll link below, of course, my Telegram, as well as journaling methods that have helped me overcome extreme levels of self-destruction and guilt. As I continue to publish these videos, I'll share a lot more about my personal story and the sort of things that I've done that you would probably think unthinkable that I've still come back from my ability to keep track of the plot of my own life. And journaling is a healthy way to do that. That being said, I want to start putting these videos out regularly, so if you are watching, thank you for listening. And remember, no matter how fucked you are right now, always claim victory.